Hi, this is Christopher with another episode of What's Brewing. I have two amazing guests today at one of my favorite restaurants. But before I introduce them, let's roll that beautiful B-roll. Tim, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I'd say introduce yourselves, but tell us a little bit about yourselves. Introduce yourselves and why you're both called Tim.
Well, I'm Tim Senior and he's Tim Junior.
So I don't have a choice.
Yeah, set that up front.
He didn't have a choice in this,
Yeah.
I did. Me and my wife did. But as far as the business goes, we started back in 1991 with Ruby's Restaurant.
Okay.
Ruby's my mother, still alive, 94 years old, 84 years old.
Ooh.
84 years old and
Dad.
still
Careful.
cooks every day.
Wow.
But it goes way beyond that, because when I was probably in 8th grade, I said, Mom, I want to learn how to cook. She says, why? Because I think it's my passion. That's what I want to do. I want to be an astronomer or a cook.
Wow.
I chose a cook.
Wonderful spectrum.
I chose to be a cook, and it's my passion. It's what I love doing. And of course, that was when I was in probably 8th grade in 1970s, and here I am 30 years later, still in the restaurant business. Left it for a couple of years and worked in corporate America, and like, no, I belong in the kitchen.
I agree.
And customer service is what I love, and making sure that people get what they like. I take feedback. Hey, what's not good? What's good? What do you like? What you didn't like? And that's been our concept for the past 30 years. That's what my mom did. That's what I do. And Tim, on the other side, Tim Jr. is the one who does more of the technical stuff that to keep up with how we're going to promote this business through social media.
Yeah, the modernization of business now.
Yeah. And he knows how to do it. I don't even care how to do it. I do exactly what I get my resources. You do this better than me, I'll allow you to do it. You can cook it better than me, well, not many people can, but I'll allow them to do it.
I'll actually, as a son, it's important that I disagree with my parents as often as possible. But I actually agree with that statement.
Yeah.
So 3 generations, right? 3-generation business. That's amazing.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it that way.
Yeah,
you're right.
And most of the people in the business were either family or people that became family. Because I have employees over the years that's just been, they've been family to me.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things that, as someone who sort of found you by happenstance, and I'm so glad I did, my wife is primarily the one who shows up. You'll see my credit card, so it's my card on that gets rang, but my wife comes in every weekend, and I'm usually in the parking lot, waiting for her to, with our dog or something. And I know there's someone who works every Sunday that's here. I believe she's a paralegal. I don't want to share that customer's name, but like there's a person who works here, and so I was just talking, I was saying, because she answered the phone when I called to do the pre-order. She's like, hey, Rain, and I was like, oh, it's Chris today. Oh, I'm sorry. She saw the 831 Vilpine number, and what's so amazing about that is every single time that she answers the phone when my wife calls, she knows my wife by name. Like, I don't know if that was the thing that cemented it for me, because there was, like, the food is amazing. We just love being here. We love the food. We enjoy it. But that, to me, was one of the amazing things about coming here. And then I met her one day, because I came in to pick it up, because I think my wife was sick. And I said, so, how did you find yourself here? She's like, well, I have another job, but I love them. They're like family to me. And that's when you said that.
She's been here for, 14 years, been with us, on and off?
Well, I have some 14, some 17, some 3 months, some 6 months.
Yep, but the individual you're talking about, yeah, she's been with us since her daughters were born, so at least 14 years.
Yeah.
That says a lot about y'all, because in this day and age, you'll see a lot of business where people come and go.
Yep.
But when folks really stay that long, that says as much about them as it does the business.
I agree. I have friends who own restaurants, and when you're in this business, you connect with people who share your struggles, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly.
So my restaurant owner friends are now my competitors. They're truly my confidants. Yeah. And we share that, and I hear them talk about it, and they're obviously a much larger scale than we are. Our seating capacity is 59. One of my buddies, his seating capacity is 340. So he talks about his attrition rate, and we don't see it here.
Right.
We don't. We went through about a 3-month time frame where we were just trying to balance a staff that could work together and connect. Because like in your industry, yeah, you have there can be two divisions, right? And in the restaurant business, there's your front of the house and your back of the house. Your back of the house, I can't go in that kitchen and do what he does.
No.
No matter how hard I would try, I could not do it. And you talked earlier about you guys have been so consistent as customers and now friends that you know when the heavy hand of seasoning has been engaged.
Yep.
With me, it would be, this is not the same food. Like every other week.
He's one of my biggest critics.
I am. Ever since I was a kid. Oscar Wilde said it best, we will always judge our parents.
Yeah.
But he couldn't come to the front of the house and do what I do.
No.
So relying on that balance of communication and trust, which is the
He can
hardest
relate
part.
more to customer service than I can.
Yeah.
And it's not that I'm not capable of doing it, but when you have to do the back of the house and the front of the house,
It's tough.
It's not a
Something's
desire,
going to
yeah.
suffer.
Exactly.
Right? The quality is going to be impacted. I worked in the food industry for a really, really long time, and so I had to serve customers, and I worked with some not great back of the house chefs, and I had to go back there. One time, I remember we needed to. I worked. I won't name the location, but it was in Thibodeau, and it was a restaurant I worked for in college. I was a waiter, and it was small, real small, and had great customers. You get to know them. They'd leave, their coffee in the morning would be like $1, and then they'd leave me like a $5 tip, And I had some just great folks that I served every week, but we had some rotating chefs that just didn't do a good job. And I remember having to go and make bread pudding one day because I had some of the judges
worst.
that would come every single Wednesday, and they specifically wanted bread. It was like their thing, and we were real accommodating. And I remember it just wasn't good, so I literally had to go in the back and make it, bring it out, and it was just so frustrating. I was like, come on, you're killing, because it's going to kill me. I'm working for $2 an hour. I rely on tips.
Yep.
They're going to hurt me when they're upset. And so it does take this teamwork, and each one needs, I think, their own skill set, because they are sometimes different.
Does Rain know you make bread pudding?
She doesn't.
wow, she does now.
She does now. It's on the internet.
No, but you're right. The front of the house, back of the house. If you're going to go in the kitchen and try to circumvent what the chef is doing, and then the chef is going to come out and try to take your job and trying to please the customers and come up there and say, "Hey, was everything great? Was everything good?"
It's a different experience.
Well, no. The waitress or the front of the house have to do their job. The kitchen have to do their job. Got to have teamwork.
That's right.
But you have to know how to blend it to where you don't offend that one.
Yep.
Right.
Offend this one.
Yeah, customers should never be the recipient of failed internal processes.
No.
Yeah.
And in the restaurant industry,
That can happen very quickly. Yeah.
it's common.
It's a struggle, and it takes, I think you said, it's building a team that knows how to work together. My first mentor, when I started out sort of in my vocational career, his name is Bob Burton. He's passed away since, but he told me these words when I first went on staff with him. He said, be on time, ready to work with other people, emphasis on other people.
He was a genius.
Listen, it's words that I thought at the time, I'm like, well, that's obvious, this is not insightful. 20 years later, I'm like, man, he really boiled that down, and I'll never forget that. And I found that over the years, that's been my constant reminder. I work with a lot of different people. You're going to have a lot of different people come in here and come through, at least customer-wise, but then not everyone's going to have what's going on in their life. This morning we're saying, how's your morning? I'm awake.
I woke up.
Here.
Yeah.
A lot of that other is just, there's a lot going on in our lives. A lot of things that are sort of external forces that affect us at work, and it takes a good, strong team to be able to not allow that to really negatively impact the workplace.
And speaking of negative impact, I think I should have opened up with this earlier. I don't know that I ever formally said thank you to you and Rain for how much you guys have supported us up to this point. Chris, every single Sunday, I look forward to the notification that says, went to Tim's today, picked up our gumbo, picked up our barbecue, and it's always delightful because, as you know, as a business owner and as a consulting manager, bad news will always travel a lot faster than good news. So that positive reaction to, because we've even gotten your order wrong before. I don't know if you know this, but I gave Rain the wrong food one morning, one Sunday.
I remember that.
Yep, and she was like, it happens.
She's super kind.
Yeah, I was stressed. I had an anxiety attack. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. You're here every Sunday. She was like, yeah.
Wow.
I'm human too. I think those are her exact words. She was like, yeah, it's okay. I'm human too.
Because we're in it, we've dealt with people for 25 years now, working with people, and been the brunt. When people are frustrated, they let you know.
Yeah.
And
Which is good.
It is. You need to be, they need to keep you honest. They need to keep you down to earth. Some folks, I heard it said once, some people are upset and we're just in the way.
Yeah.
And there's some folks that have a chip on their shoulder and they're happy to just drop rocks in your foot along the way. But there are some folks that honestly can say, hey, listen, this is what I love this about it, here's what I think you could do better, that I gravitate towards. And one of the things that I've found is that, you know, I've never been encouraged too much. I've never had someone say, man, I really appreciate you too much. And I've had the absence of it. Right. and I hear, you know, because we do ticketing systems, so literally everything that we hear is normally someone's problem, not necessarily with us, so we deal with that, but it's great every now and then when someone takes a moment and says, man, I really thank you for this, or this is really great. And to us, because we're in that struggle, we really believe in the product. We really love what you do. And I don't say that about everything. There's a lot of folks that we enjoy the food and it was great, but it's another thing where like this is a part of our regular schedule. It's on the books, we look forward to it. My wife and I get excited about it, and we know it's gonna be great, and we know the people, and I think that's really what good business is about. The business is a platform for a human connection, and of course you have to make a living, we all do, we have to make money. But what goes beyond all that is the things that can't be counted. I can count cost of goods sold. I can tell you this needs to be reordered, this needs to be made, this many plates. But it's that in between, the things that can't be counted, that's what I live for. Because the numbers and the reports, it gets old, it gets stressful, but it's the joy of meeting people that reciprocate what you do. That is why we do it. And getting a chance to do this is exciting because we're getting to meet the folks behind the scenes.
Well, when you get an opportunity to say these are not customers, these are guests.
Yeah, right.
Because this is my home and
it's our kitchen.
You're coming in, and because when I get up in the morning, it's not like, oh man, I gotta go to work today. I enjoy what I do.
You get
and when customers come in, I want to make sure that they enjoy themselves. Like, you come and eat in my dining room. So you're a guest, you're not just a customer.
Right. Yeah.
And that's the ones that repeats and comes back on a regular basis, and that's a large percentage here.
It really is.
Yeah. Large percentage.
Majority of our business.
Everyone I've taken here has always loved it. Mark, who's behind the scenes here today, when I brought him here, I hyped it up. I was like, hey, this is going to be really great. He's like, what should I order? I was like, let's stay safe. Let's go with gumbo. But again, we've talked about that. Gumbo can be one of those things that you can get really
you're
wrong.
Not supposed to order it in a restaurant. I overheard some guys from a local business sitting down one day, and his buddy looked at him and says, man, you got to get a cup of their gumbo. He said, hell no. He said, my mom would kill me if I ordered gumbo in a restaurant. Yeah. So I comped him a cup of gumbo. He eats here once a week. He gets a bowl of gumbo every time he comes in.
Wow. I love those stories.
And many people will say, this tastes just like not mom's, my grandmother's
gumbo.
This tastes just like my grandmother's gumbo. That's a compliment.
I've bet customers that if the taste of our gumbo doesn't bring you back to your childhood in one moment, it's free. Yeah. And I've never had anybody eat for free.
Yeah. Because it's so good, you know. And I think that takes a confident chef, it takes a confident staff to know that your food is as good as you think it is. Yeah. And other people are going to say, no, you're 100% right. You know, one of my things that I think that I found myself getting here was I lived in Ville Platte for 10 years. Some of my best and sweetest folks that I know are from Ville Platte. And we found it because of the plate lunches on Sunday. Now, obviously, you're open more than just Sundays. You know, I'll let you guys talk about your schedule and your menu in just a second. But when I lived in Ville Platte, one of the things that I loved to get was plate lunches. And when we moved from there, we got a little gentrified, right? We got caught up in the big city life. We're going to all these big, chain restaurants because we can. And for a long time, we just sort of abandoned, I'd say our roots, but abandoned a season of our life when seasoning was better. And we said, well, I would really love to do that. And that's how we ended up finding you. And to me, anyone who's from Ville Platte, or if you don't know where Ville Platte is, this is where things like, all this good seasoning and all this good boudin, all these great meat markets, that's where you'll go and get them. And to eat somewhere like this, where you feel like, not to compare it, but like the folks who are just like you, inviting people into their kitchen, inviting you into their restaurant or to their gas station. If you don't know what I'm talking about, those who are in the north, there's actually a great place to eat in a gas station. Yes, that's what to me was like, this is as good as the folks in Ville Platte. Now, don't be offended, those from Ville Platte. That's not a diss on your food. That's how good the food is here. And that's the other thing where it's truly authentic. It's truly Cajun at-home cooking, and right here in Broussard, which I feel like is kind of becoming this foodie capital because there's all these restaurants that folks don't really realize they have some really great dishes, you know. So talking about menu, tell us a little bit about your hours of operation for those who don't know you exist or have not had a chance to meet you. When are you open, and what's your menu look like every week?
Tim, you want to do it?
Yeah, I'll take that one. So Sunday through Friday. Saturday, he takes his Sabbath. That's his day of rest. Although, as a small business, there's no rest.
It's the day we're not open.
It's the day we're not open.
I like that.
Better
I agree with
said.
that.
Better. So the schedule, the idea of a schedule the idea of a concept of a kitchen revolves around that 10 to 2 portfolio of eat. So those are hours. 10:30. So a soft 10 because you do have some people who come in early and that's okay. We don't mind so long as food's ready and we can serve them. But 10:30 to 2 o'clock. That's what we do. There are 3 main dishes that we keep staple Monday through Friday. It's chicken and sausage gumbo, chicken fried steak, and baked chicken for people who want to be, I don't know, healthy. Not really our promotion. But then Sunday, obviously, barbecue. That's the day I get to see Rain when I'm here in gumbo.
Yep.
But the Monday through Friday schedule is interesting, and there's a fun story. A guy came in one day from New Orleans, and he came in on a Monday. It was his first time in, and he walked in. He didn't look at our menu. He says, "Do you guys have red beans and sausage?" And I picked up on his energy, and I knew he was a bit of a silly guy, so I knew I could mess with him. So I said, "What makes you think just because you walked into my restaurant on a Monday we would have red beans and sausage?" He said, "Because in Cajun country, you eat red beans and sausage on Monday." And guess what? We serve red beans and sausage on Monday.
Every Monday.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Always did.
Yeah.
From day one. And it's something we just grew up with, I guess.
And meatball stew is always on Tuesdays, so we offer meatball stew on Tuesdays. I won't bore you with the details of what we do every single day. Our menu is on our Facebook page.
You can check them out, Facebook Live.
Shameless plug.
Yeah.
But it's a fun menu. It's a fun menu because we have customers that we know we'll see every Monday, customers we know we'll see every Tuesday, every Sunday, every Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. And Friday is kind of our Catholic staple day, I think, because he's a professional Catholic. Every Friday is seafood day.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a professional Catholic. You go to church every Sunday, you eat seafood every Friday. That's what Catholics do, I'm guessing.
To me, I love Lent because it's to me like you're like, oh, I don't get to meet. Bummer. I guess I'll just do shrimp and crawfish. Darn.
How dare I?
Yeah.
But one of the things being, and I'm not going to say Catholic, but just being Christian goes a long way with my employees and helping to keep me with peace of mind.
Oh no, this was the platform.
Because I used to do a Bible study every morning with my employees for about the first year that we opened up.
Wow.
And when I stopped doing it, it was like, why did you stop? He said, Tim.
Yeah.
I say, well, because I don't have enough employees here and I got work to do in the kitchen, but we'll take 5 minutes this morning that lasts 15, 20 minutes.
Right.
And then if I have simple meetings with them with just the purpose of life and who you should be, how you should act, and the way things are going to happen, the way it was, the way it's going to be, and then you got to make sure that you are the person that, you got to be the best that you can be.
Yep.
Not that I want you to be, that you can be.
Yep.
And that goes a long way.
Yeah.
And I'll get, oh, thanks so much, we needed that today. Should we do this every morning? Well, if you show up on time, we'll do it every morning. Sometimes I just...
Employees running late.
It makes a difference because we've discovered that what is going on in our personal life, if we're not growing, that's going to affect your work life.
Yeah, big time.
So investing at that level is so critical because, you know, it can be stressful. Like I said, there's a lot going on externally, and you know, a business like yours is life-giving, not just life-draining. A lot of them just take away from people, and when you're doing things like that, you're building it into people, and I think that's huge. It's exciting. I do similar things with my staff, and that is really powerful. That a lot of folks don't often think to do that, but it's the difference that makes the difference. And I think it's the difference that makes the difference in your business. There's probably a lot of ingredients that I think have led to your success and to your longevity as a business and the quality. And I think that's one of those attributes that really feeds into that. That's awesome. Well, I think we're coming up on our time. I want to say, one, I think there needs to be like a part 2 of this. Like, we need to talk more. I've really enjoyed it.
I would love that. I really would.
I really appreciate you guys taking time out of your schedule. I know that you have to cook because you've got food.
Go finish up.
Yeah, got to go finish up, go back to the kitchen. But I want to just say thank you for being a part of this.
We appreciate you coming in.
Well, that's it for Tim's Kitchen. I have been looking forward to this interview for a really long time. I hope that you come and visit them, check it out. They do have their menu on Facebook. We'll put the links in the description below to let you know how that you can follow them and check them out, of course, in person. Go support their business. They're definitely worth it. I highly recommend it. And if you want to come with me to lunch, just DM me and I'll definitely take you one day. You won't regret it. We will see you in the next one.